So we're hot off the back of yesterday's live stream. Yeah, some issues really on angles and things of how we how I set things up. Yeah, if you're watching this today, this isn't live obviously, but could you leave me some feedback on camera angles and how things are when I'm painting or doing bits and bobs at the desk this morning. Feedback would be great so I can set the live one up a bit better. I mean, I've got a decentish angle here. The trouble is the way my camera's, the iPad's set up, whenever I touch the screen it's gonna rock slightly, so we'll see how things go. So I gained 3 new subscribers from last night's endeavours, which was much appreciated from you all. I'm just thinking while I'm talking with what I'm going to be doing. So that was a bonus out of last night, and much appreciated, like I said a few moments ago. So this morning I thought I'd set up a bit. I may end up yawning, which is becoming a trait of this channel. I've been up since 4 o'clock, so I just thought this morning while we're waiting for the wife and grandchild to wake up, I'll come sit and potter about in here. So a good shout out for Kits with Karen, who was watching for a while last night, for passing things on for me, spreading the word about the channel. Much appreciated. I was also joined by Garage Goblins, which is Sean, a friend of mine, of which I'm part of, but since I've started doing this channel and I can do some stuff from home without having to travel to Sean's, I've sort of focused on this a bit. Doesn't mean I've left Garage Goblins. In fact, myself and Sean are working towards a demo game in October, and this is what you can see me messing around with now. I don't know whether you can actually excuse me while I move it. See if we can get things in a bit better. Right, I think I'm at full extreme there, so I want to be careful. I'm looking at ordering another stand. This one attaches to my table, but I'm looking at possibly getting a different type of stand and see how that goes. I'm not spending a fortune, but it's a freestanding one, so hopefully that'll work a bit better and in my favour. So what I'm doing now is, this is one of the figures I was cleaning up last night, so I thought get him onto the next phase by working on the base. So I'm still learning really on angling and doing stuff to the camera, so you must excuse me if I sort of disappear off screen from time to time. I'm hoping with a new stand there's less chance of that happening, but we shall have. Oops, that's it, caught that again, you see. Just stretches too far over. A bit annoying really. So yeah, if it sounds like I'm muttering, I'm just trying to keep the noise down because the grandchild and the wife's in the other room, which is adjacent to this. So I like to be I try not to be too noisy. So we'll just have to see what happens. Right, I'm just going to puddle around with this while I've got some paint still on the palette. For those of you keen or keen-eyed, you'll know this is a old Imperial Army figure from 40k. Just thought I'd get the flesh done while it's sat here. Excuse me if I go quiet, it's because I am concentrating on the flesh, so I don't go all over the place with it. This paint's on here from last night and it's quite thin, to be fair. So just making the best of it while it's still on here. Same as say, slightly too thin really, but I can make it work. But I hope folk sort of enjoyed the video last night. I know it's not top notch compared to other channels, but like I said in things in the past, I'm having to work with what I've got, I'm afraid. So it'll be a while before I can afford to upgrade, anything, or to be able to get the right things to make the videos or the live streams better. So you'll just have to bear with me, folks, I'm afraid. Yeah, it is a little bit too watery, this. It's starting to get too much, it's flowing in the wrong way. It's a bit too much water in it, but I'll persevere. Yeah, today what I'll be doing is I'll work on the stuff for the pillage game. All the figures that I'll be using are from Wargames Foundry. The sculptor's Matt Bickley for the Saxons and the Normans. Very nice, characterful. People moan about the price of Foundry. As far as I'm concerned, you pay for what you get. Might sound a bit snobbish, it's not meant to. But for me, it's like a good quality figure. I mean, there are some good other companies out there, don't get me wrong. I've always tended to go back to Foundry for stuff. The other main figure stuff I do like is Bloody Miniatures. I think they're really tasty models, to be fair. Not that I've eaten one, but no, I think they're really tasty models. Here we go, catching stuff already. Yeah, they're really nice. So yeah, just to recap, the figure I did last night is there, look, and there, looks a bit shabby at the moment. But yeah, they was the base colour with a wash, both of them, and then back to the base colour. So what we'll do now, we'll get on with these two figures because I can't get out and undercoat them yet, we're being so early, and we'll go to the next bit, which is Tooth and Coat's Elven Skin. Yeah, some of these tooth and coats, I mean, the coverage is good on them, but it takes some squeezing out, which, you know, it is what it is, but sometimes it's a... Oh, here we go, caught it again. Sorry, folks. I've got it lower than normal to be able to get down and do things. My hand's going to keep going across the screen, unfortunately. Nothing much I can do about that. I'm saying I'm hoping this new stand will make things a little bit better, but we'll have to see. So here we go, on to the next level. So always do the tip of the nose, then the bridge of the nose, nostril on both sides. My phone's just gone buzz in the background. If that's what you heard. Yeah, the tooth and coat paints, yeah, pigmentation's good in them. Yeah, your brush can keep a point with the paint on, so that's not too bad. But yeah, overall they're not a bad range, just a bit pricey, that's all. About the same price as individual foundry pots, which is about £4. So yeah, you pay for what you get, and they're never going to be as cheap as citadel paints. I don't know how much they're working out now, but I know they're cheaper, and they're readily available to everybody, really. They are. These ones I get from I can't remember the name of the company. I'll dig it out for another video. I get from that company. You can't go direct to tooth and paints, I don't think, tooth and coats, which is a shame, really. So it is what it is. If you can see, folks, I'm not fully painting everything in, and I'm trying to give a bit of depth now to the model. Sort of from the middle of the knuckle or the finger, dragging it back to the top knuckle. Obviously try and create some emphasis on the bends in the fingers. There you go. Here, as you can see, I've gone, well, it's gone a bit too close to each other, but I can remedy that with the last phase of painting. back to this figure. And these are quite old figures and still retain a nice bit of character. I know Drew Day Williams at Citadel Art Studios has done a range that aren't exact copies, but they sort of enhance the older range. Similar sort of character. It's pretty good at, you know, doing that old school revival sort of thing. I do like Drew's figures from Citadel Art Studios. I do have some. Or could they? Oh dear, I've caught that. I can rectify it then. Even I make mistakes still. I don't help that the brush is halfway out. Let me say earlier, I need to invest in some new brushes. I have to make do what I've got at the moment. Yeah, I can rectify that, that's no problem. So yeah, I do like Drew's figures. You have to order them from him directly in America. Still pretty fast at delivering, to be fair. He's a one-man band, sculpts, then has somebody cast his stuff up for him, then he packs everything, every order, and then obviously gets them sent out by post. Some say he's a really nice guy. Do check his channel out, Citadel Art Studios. He'll sit most of the time sculpting while in front of the camera. He doesn't do it for everything. Say sculpting can take quite a while, and sometimes you just need to focus on the sculpting without interruptions, like talking to the camera or answering questions while he's doing his job. But it's really nice of him to sometimes come on, share what he's doing. He also uses the channel sometimes to bounce ideas out there as to what to sculpt. Exchanges hobby tips, or gives you advice on sculpting. For me, I just tend to watch it, catch up with it if I've missed it, or I'll sit listening to it while painting. Let me say, really great channel. So that's Citadel Art Studios. Do check him out. And another company I do like is Diode Miniatures, which is all sculpted by Tim Prowl, who used to work at GW. Yeah, first met Tim. I mean, I'm not personal, on the go close friends with him. First met Tim when he used to be part of the painting team at GW many moons ago. I think it was in their Friar Lane shop, and they used to go around the shops for a short while, painting, showing folk tips and techniques, which is always like to learn things like that, or see how people do things. So that's how I first met him. And then from time to time bumped into him at various different GW conventions. So yeah, another nice chap really. And last night's live video was with several people, and good old Gary Morley popped up. sparked a conversation about his new miniatures, of which he gave me a good friendly nudge as to get them painted up, because I've had a set off him. And say they are really nice. They are resin, which for me is a downside to it. I prefer metal, but I understand cost wise and what have you. Keeping my fingers crossed they do come out in metal at some point. So, but yeah, Gary's an awfully nice bloke as well. Known Gary on and off. Well, I've known Gary for a while, not on and off. Got to know him through somebody else that still works at GW. I know, again, it seems like I'm name dropping, but I do know these people, Gary more so than Tim. So, but yeah, it's yeah, you get to know quite a few people within the hobby after you've been around as long as I have. Not as old as some other folk, always like some other folk, but yeah, I've been painting, collecting, gaming for a number of years. I would say it's a minimum of 40 years. I started getting stuff when I was about 13, 14, so it might be a little bit longer than 40 years. And got to know folk through a friend of mine that ended up, well, he works there, he's worked there since 1980 something. So I say he's still there, but yeah, so I got to know people that work there, which has been entertaining at times. I think a bit an eye opener to some, due to the way I am. Speak my mind, and yeah. But yeah, it's been entertaining along the way, getting to know some of these people. Also led me to get some stuff a number of years ago when Dogs of War was coming out. I was asked if I'd paint a unit, come along as a mercenary and hire myself out at a set of games that had been organised. This before you get all these competition stuff. It was at Lenton, before it was all done up to look like a castle. And that was really great, really nice. So, and it's some Alicante pikemen just before the release. So I went along as a mercenary. I ended up in various different armies, all fighting alongside various different armies. Yeah, people thought because they were humans, they'd give me a good stuffing, but they didn't realise that if cavalry charged you, it stuffed you up, and how many ranks you could actually fight in. I mean, they were a new thing at the time. People weren't aware of what they could do and couldn't. So it was good to have a go with those, to be fair. So there you go, folks. That's the flesh coming on. Looks a bit stark at the moment, but it's not as stark on the figure. So all I've done to this is add Vampire Fang into the elven flesh. So just to make it into a highlight. Again, just picking out tops of the eyebrows and this. Highlighting the top lip. Yeah, I'm sorry if I've gone over this before, but I'm just working on what's in front of me at the moment, and I know it's fantasy, but same sort of things apply when you're painting. So flesh is flesh is flesh, no matter what genre. So at the moment I'm painting human flesh, so might as well get some done that have been sat here and undercoated and primed and all that lot. So but I'll be back later on today working on those back there. So but yeah, to those of you that have subscribed, thank you very much. It is really appreciated. Last night was a learning curve. I also found it interesting as well because I got to interact with people that were watching, which was quite good. Quite enjoyed that. The only problem was the chat wouldn't stay up. I had to keep going back to the screen and doing things, which got my fingers in the way of the camera element of the iPad or tablet, whatever you want to call it. I don't know the difference. So that sort of obscured my view. It was a bit annoying. I had to keep going to and fro to check the chats because it just popped up and disappeared fairly quick. So somehow I've got to try and rectify that. I'm saying I'm all new to this and painting to camera. So I've just noticed I'm off off screen again. I'm so sorry, folks. But some poses aren't, or positions aren't natural to the way I paint. I've got to keep trying to remember that. Yeah, the wet palette comes in handy at times. It helps stuff blend in. So I'm just wondering whether I need to put another level into that. Seems alright to me for gaming. So I'm going to do the bottom lip now, which I do with pink horror from Citadel colour paint, or whatever you want to call it. A little bit of that. Pick out obviously the bottom lip. Even wearing my close work glasses this morning and the magnifying headset that I wear, my eyesight's getting quite blurred. I think that's due to lack of sleep. So I'm saying I've been up since 4 this morning and didn't go to bed till gone midnight. I do struggle with sleep, which has a knock-on effect, as we all know. So, and then what I do, take some of that last mix and then mix that into there. I like to make sure there's a difference in contrast, so it will stand out against the lip colour at the bottom. So it's just a case of doing a fine highlight line on top of that base colour. So there we go. Right, now for the next bit. This is where I use some washes, if I can find them. Here we go. Trukey Violet and Caribou Crimson from Games Workshop, call them shades. Use them on a wet palette, which, whoa, bugger, that lid's stuck. That's a problem with dropper bottles. A bloody nuisance, right? That lid's sticking. Yeah, that's totally stuck. I'll have to get something to that later on. That's a waste of stuff, but hey ho. So anyway, taking some of that. I'm off screen with that at the moment. Keeping a nice point. I'm just going to work my way around any straps that join the skin. Nice fine line up under the helmet, around the edge and down the side where the strap is. Same on the other side. Smallest touch. Oh, here we go. Mistakes are being made. The beauty about it would be in a wash, you can go in and dab some of it out. If it does happen and it pulls heavily, just, you know, clear your brush off a bit, dry it off, and then just lift it out with the tip of the brush. So here we go. I'm just going to drag in between the fingers just to give it that definition again. Where it meets anything, I just sort of go on the edge. There we go, between that finger. Now these were the two fingers on here that sort of got the colour running to between the fingers. This just helps redefine it. Around the wrist where it meets the cloth. So that's that bit done in Carroburg Crimson. Again, we're still working with a very fine point. Around the edge of the helmet, underneath, around the edge. Just try to just touch in the eye recess. Well, there's not much on the brush. Saves all the pulling. That'll save anywhere where it connects and there's a bit of a recess, just run it into that. Okay, around the hand where it joins, stuff in between the fingers, nice and gentle. It'll just out between there, pop. Again, where it joins anything else. On the wrist and on this wrist here. Yeah, the thing is just work with the point, just touching the crimson while it's on palette, so you can keep the point thin and you don't get to put too much on. I don't know whether you can see there, look, it looks wider than it is, but it's made those fingers pop a little bit. And then the next colour is Druky Violet. Let's see if this one's stuck. No, we're alright. Pop a little dot of that on there. And what we're doing now is creating a darker recess. Again, you can just see me using the point, I think, on there. No. Yeah, you can now, hopefully. It's just a small tip of it. And I'm just going to top of that there and underneath the helmet bit, and here it's sort of like doing a little V in there. This won't need much on there, just the smallest touch to enhance those fingers. So I go under from the bottom up to halfway. So it casts a bit more of a shadow. Same here. There you go. Just a touch of virtually dry brush without too much on. Back to the Druki palette. Just here and here where the helmet meets the face. Might have to go back and touch that cheek up in a short while. Again, just a gentle touch between the figures, halfway down and under, halfway down and under for the shadow. Very, very lightly between the fingers where the thumb meets the fingers. Again, halfway down and under the wrist. I'm just going to go in and retouch the cheek. I mean, I suppose this is a beauty really of using a wet palette. There we go, just knocks that out. Right, I did forget the eyes in the eye socket. Right, a small touch yet again. Next to nothing, I mean next to nothing on the brush. Just to bring up that eye socket. There we go. I'm going to finish off with the eyes and call it a day on that. I mean, this is 40 minutes long. This is the next bit I hate doing. I mean, you could get away if the eyes were a bit narrower, just with an impression of where the eye is with no white or black in. But I'm going to put the eyes in. I tend to do it quite a lot. The trouble is, it's trying to stop doing it with that stark stare on it. So yeah, again, just using the tip of the figure brush. Start from the inside, draw it out to the outside. That's the way I do it anyway. And again, from the other side. There you go, hope you can see that. Wash out my brush. Here we go again. Yeah, the eyes are pretty narrow on this old Imperial Guard. But we're getting there. So, yeah, pretty narrow. Does look a bit bug-eyed on that one, to be fair. And then time to put the black in to represent the eye. You can use a really dark blue if you want, or dark brown, but I always tend to use black. There we go again. Drop the pipette. The usual thing, either too much or too little. Well, I'm trying to get this into a nice point without hardly any paint on. This is the bit that I don't like. So I'm trying to get these centre. So, like cross-eyed. There you go. Don't think you can tell on there. Yeah, I don't think you can tell, but they're in. This one's going to be more awkward, the eyes being so narrow. Yeah, I managed to catch ruddy cheek on that. See if we can get that out. Highlight. Okay. Both eyes are looking at an angle anyway, so it's not too bad. We'll go with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I shall call it a end of the video to that. We've only done the flesh, but it's something else on a couple of figures. I want to steadily work through some 40k stuff as well, the early stuff. I've got the 3rd edition Rogue Trader, so I want to give that one a whirl. So anyway, thanks very much. Please like, subscribe and all that lot. Hit the notification button. Yeah, thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed. It's very good of you and kind of you. So yeah, right, I'll wrap it up. I might do another video later today. But thanks folks, thanks for joining me, and take care.